a final effort at the Capitol fails to move a gun control bill through the Senate.
That you have to have some restrictions on people on how they access these weapons.
The push, just one part of the call for action after the tragedy.
I want to save other children. I want to honor her life, her legacy with action.
We look at efforts to move forward in Uvalde and at the Capitol as we approach the one-year anniversary of the deadly school shooting. And a bill to ban certain healthcare options for transgender minors heads to the governor, how the legislation is already having an impact even before it becomes law. Plus, we show a state lawmaker video from a Texas school at the center of abuse allegations, why our investigation has him talking about the need to change state law.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. Wednesday marks 1 year since the deadly mass shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde. The anniversary is bringing attention to efforts to respond to the tragedy and the work to move forward. Here in Austin, lawmakers have taken up several measures aimed to improve school safety. Results have been mixed, and despite pleas and protests from family of children killed in Uvalde, legislation aiming for gun control has failed to advance. Politics reporters Monica Madden and Ryan Chandler have been reporting on the upcoming anniversary. Monica and Ryan join us now. You both traveled to Uvalde this past week. What was it like there as the anniversary approaches?
Josh, every time we go back there, it's always, I feel my heart is heavy being back in that community. You see the crosses in the town square still there. You see the crosses outside of Robb Elementary, which is still there, and you can just, it almost feels like time is frozen, especially when we're out and talking to members of this community who are still really struggling with what happened, given, one, just how tragic everything was, and two, the lack of transparency and accountability that we've seen in the aftermath of the year. We spoke to Kim Rubio. She is a mom who lost her daughter, Lexi. Lexi was one of the 19 children who died that day. And, 1 year later, Kim is still having a really difficult time just even processing what happened, and being able to grieve and move on and get closure is a difficult thing for her. Here's what she had to say about who Lexi was and how she's trying to honor her.
I don't want her to be remembered just for this tragedy, just for May 24th. I want her to be remembered for the beautiful person that she is. I take it on my shoulders now. I think she still has the potential for change. It just has to be through me. And that's why I take this all so seriously. It's my greatest responsibility. I want to save other children. I want to honor her life, her legacy with action.
We've heard that thought from other parents of the shooting victims, and several of them have repeatedly made that 3-hour drive from Uvalde to come to Austin, calling on lawmakers at the Texas Capitol to act.
Well, they haven't always had success with their pleas to lawmakers, though, particularly when it comes to gun legislation, right?
No, not even close. Uvalde's Democratic State Senator Roland Gutierrez, he has been the loudest voice in the legislature for gun safety reform. He's filed well over a dozen bills targeting specifically firearm safety, firearm storage, firearm purchasing, whether it's increasing the age to buy a semi-automatic AR-style rifle to 21, or requiring safe storage, or closing what he calls gun show loopholes. But none of those bills, not only did they not get a vote, they didn't even get a hearing throughout the entirety of this legislative session. So we saw on Thursday night, he made one last-ditch effort to try to amend that raise the age bill onto another firearm-related bill in the Senate. Republicans did block that amendment, but he made an impassioned speech about what he has been through advocating for these families, and about the efforts that those grieving parents have made to try to advocate for that legislation as well.
It's all they had left. To be able to come to you and advocate so that this wouldn't happen again to anybody else's kids. Of course, we know it has. It happened 2 weeks ago. So I get what you guys have to deal with back home, and I get that you have to go and run for office. Sometimes you just got to tell those people to go to hell. And you're here to protect kids. Well, that's all that matters.
Senator Gutierrez acknowledged that Thursday was likely the last chance to get the raise the age legislation passed this session. The bill he was trying to amend aims to toughen the penalty for selling or giving a gun to someone who is prohibited from otherwise possessing a firearm, and that passed with unanimous support.
Well, lawmakers in Washington did pass gun control measures shortly after the Uvalde mass shooting. Has that legislation made much of a difference?
U.S. Senator John Cornyn of Texas was one of the leaders on that bipartisan Safer Communities Act, and he was in Austin over the weekend, and I caught up with him and asked him if he thinks that that package did enough. And he actually gave me some numbers, so he came prepared with how he thinks that this legislation has been making an impact. He said there's been a 52% increase in federal prosecutions of unlicensed firearm dealers. He also said that there have been 160 instances in which the FBI has identified people with juvenile records that pretty much prohibited them and disqualified them from being able to purchase a firearm. So, of course, you know, gun rights or gun restriction advocates, rather, have been saying it's not enough. They want to see an age limit on purchasing those semi-automatic weapons, and some of them want to see a complete ban. But Senator Cornyn said, as a Republican, he has to balance protecting Second Amendment rights, and he thinks that this package that they passed last year, which really was a historical package, he thinks it is making a difference, and their goal is just making sure that criminals do not get access to these firearms if they have bad intentions.
Well, the two of you have a series of reports looking at the legislative and community response to Uvalde 1 year later, and you can see those stories beginning tonight and through Wednesday on this station. Thank you both.
Thank you.
What's next? Like, I don't know where they're gonna stop, but I frankly don't want to be here to find out either.
Families of trans children making plans to live outside Texas. How legislation that's poised to become law is making an impact. Plus, we show a state lawmaker video from a Texas school at the center of abuse allegations.
What are they doing, holding him down? I mean, because if you throw any child down like that, that's abuse.
Why our investigation has him talking about the need to change state law.